The CS2 market just surpassed $5.8 billion, and it looks as though we are going to close in on $6 billion. Now, buying around these peaks definitely comes with risk, so just understand that. But in today's video, I want to address some AK-47 skins to buy at this moment for the long-term ROI. Now, going into this, like I said, yes, buying around these peaks definitely comes with a lot of risk. So just understand that we could see a major pullback at any time, and some of these skins could definitely drop in value in the short term. Now, over time, we will continuously see some of these skins continue to just rise in value due to their rarity. I mean, even right now, if we're looking at some of the top tier skins in the game, going off of just the number one that we see on this list, the AK-47 Hydroponic, I mean, this thing, I watched it go from sub like $5,000 to over $9,000 in such a short amount of time. I mean, even if we're looking at the 30-day low, we were trading at around like $6,000. We're now at $9,000 plus dollars. And just looking at the last 3 months, I mean, we were able to buy this thing for sub 5K back in August. This is how crazy the market is getting at this moment, which is why I said, you know, we could potentially see a sell-off very soon. And, you know, it definitely does come with risk waiting for a pullback or even not waiting for a pullback. So there's risk regardless of how we play this. So when we are looking at this, is there ever a good time to be buying? Not exactly, because we just don't know what to expect going forward. But going off of a few things, we can justify some good investments. Right off the rip, I'm going to start off with a skin that most people will say is not a good investment, but I'm going to go off of it simply because of the news that we recently got, which is, of course, the fact that the graphic design collection is now removed from the game. Now, the Crossfade AK-47 is definitely not my favorite skin. I do not like the view of this skin, but I'm sure that a lot of people probably do like it. And there's definitely a market for it. The main reason why I do think that this is an AK-47 skin to invest in is because of how cheap it is. Number one, because factory new is about $13, but some of the lower tiers, like for example, Minware, it's about like $4.42. Now, again, mind you, with lower tiers like Minware, there's going to be a higher supply, which is why the factory new is going up in value, along with the fact that, yes, this collection is getting removed from the game. We did see a slight pump already in this from like $4.42 to a high of like $15.84, but we have given it some time, and now it's starting to kind of stagnate in terms of price action. So right now would be a pretty good time to be looking into, you know, buying up a decent amount of supply for the skin. And like I said, with it being cheap like this, it allows you to buy up a decent amount of the AK-47 Crossfades for the long-term future ahead. Now, next up, I'm going to go over some expensive skins. I just wanted to include this one as a, you know, cheaper tier skin to look into. Now, these next ones that are going to be a little bit more expensive. So right off the rip, I'm going with the Orbit MK01. Now, this in factory new stat track, about 123 bucks, and it's not a skin that's not like, I would say that it looks pretty decent. Again, with red inventories, a lot of these red skins are going to just continue to go up because they go with so many combos, especially very expensive combos. I could see this having some very expensive crafts tied back to it, and I just think that the skin looks pretty decent. Now, along with this, it is a part of the Operation Hydra case, and if you guys do know, this is one of those cases that has some decent skins tied back to it and some of the most expensive ones as well. And when it comes to this, you know, this is one of those AK-47 skins that's pretty rare, and it's pretty cheap as well, considering the fact that it is pretty rare. Now, that is due to it being a restricted item, but I do think that this is going to continue to go up in value. Obviously, yes, it already has pumped significantly, but, you know, if we're going off of the short view or the short-term view, just going back to roughly like July, this thing that didn't really pump all that much. So I really do think that this is an overlooked skin right now that will go up significantly in value. Now, next up, another rare AK-47 skin is the First Class. I think that this is an AK-47 skin that is really not seen often in game, and it's one that's kind of overlooked and forgotten about. It's a restricted item, so again, it's not extremely rare, but it was a part of the baggage collection. Now, for those that don't know about the baggage collection, this is a very old collection, and it's also one that included two AK-47 skins, one restricted rifle, which is of course the first class, and then a classified rifle, which is the jet set. It came out back in 2014. Some of the skins in here are still pretty, sought after. I mean, they're not like crazy looking skins. I would say like the two most sought after skins within this are the jet set, which again, I don't really like the jet set. Then also the pilot Desert Eagle, which a lot of people actually don't even know exist because again, they just don't really look into some of these collections. But I would argue that this is a very clean Deagle skin that you don't really see often. And I would just throw this one in there as a very good investment because look at the chart for this thing. This thing has barely pumped to new all-time highs compared to its highs back in like 2020. But outside of that, let's go back to the first class. Like I said, it's a very overlooked skin. Yes, it has pumped up. It did reach a high of like $2.62, and that's recent. So it definitely did pump in the short term. However, I still think that it has a lot more room to grow. It's one of those skins that's so clean. It's very minimalistic. So again, I see this going with some decent combos. And it doesn't even have to be a green combo. It could be, knock gloves, for an example. Like the knocks will go very well with this. But yeah, I just think that this is a very clean looking skin, and I see the value of it rising significantly over time. And it's, a little bit more rare. It came out back in 2014, so supply demand, I mean, it could definitely be there. Now, is it going to be one of those crazy AK-47 skins that is extremely sought after because of how good it looks? No. But again, just going off of rarity, I think that this would be a good option. And then one that's still in active rotation, considering the fact that it is tied back to the Radiant collection, and it's a classified, so it's a little bit more rare, the Nouveau Rouge. I do think that this is one of the skins out there right now that has been released in recent times that looks extremely clean. I kind of love the view of this AK. I mean, it reminds me of the Wild Lotus in the sense of like it feeling like royalty in your hands. It just looks so clean. It goes with a lot of combos. If you have, for an example, any red gloves, it looks very good with it. If you have some yellowish gloves, it looks very good with them. I just think that this is a very clean AK skin, and right now the price is pretty stagnant. That's because, of course, the collection is still in active rotation, but with the recent updates removing collections from the game, I do see this having some hype and speculation tied to it potentially being, removed from the game. And if that is the case, the Nouveau Rouge will go up significantly in value. A good example of this is pretty much any AK skin that was tied back to a collection, like, for an example, the Be the Monster. Now, the Be the Monster is also still a good investment, even though it is a part of a collection that's still technically in active rotation. But it's also hype and speculation. Is the collection going to get removed? I do believe it will. The main concern to me, though, with some of these collections is if the collection is making a ton of money and there's a lot of hype and demand for it, I don't know if Valve is looking at it from a point of view of, oh, hey, this collection is bringing in so much money, let's remove it. No, they're probably thinking, hey, this thing is bringing in so much money, let's keep it in. So it's questionable on when the Be the Monster will be, well, I shouldn't even say the Be the Monster, but the Overpass 2024 collection will be completely removed from the game. But I do still think that if we can potentially see this thing sell back off into like the $1,000 range, then hey, it would be a very good buy. I still think lower tiers, like for example, like Minware, because it's still, pretty cheap. It hasn't really pumped that much. I mean, this is what the view of the Minwares look like. Yes, it did pump from like $400 to 500. And if we're going back to like the summer, it is up about like $200. But again, Minware, it doesn't look that bad compared to factory new. Yes, it's still a little scuffed, but again, I think that some of these lower tiers aren't too bad to invest into if something like the Be the Monster is going absolutely insane in factory new. But I would probably just avoid this one for a bit of time until like FOMO starts to kind of cool off a bit. But however, the main thing that I'm looking at here with the Nouveau Rouge is this is a part of the Radiant collection. how sought after is this collection? I mean, it definitely has some great skins tied to it, like for an example, the Mulberry Desert Eagle. But, you know, is this one of those collections that's extremely sought after, that's bringing in a ton of money? Probably not. So is this going to be one of those collections that gets removed, you know, faster than some of these other ones? I definitely think that it could be. And if that is the case, then the Nouveau Rouge will go up significantly in value. And I do still think that this is a very good buy. It might not be a covert AK, but I still think that it's pretty rare. Now, talking about some covert AKs, let's address one that is an OG. And I can't believe that I used to own this AK back in CSGO days. And just looking at the price chart of this is wild. I mean, listen, I owned this thing back in like 2017. This thing was under 50 bucks. It's crazy to see how expensive some of these skins have gotten, but you know, again, it does call for, you know, a view of how the game, how it looks in the game. And this is one of those skins that has gotten a huge upgrade. I mean, the reds and the oranges on this gun just look so clean. And I just think that this is one of those skins that has always kind of just held, you know, a special place in players' hearts when it comes to like those OG looking skins. And also when it comes to the skin, it really hasn't aged bad at all. In fact, it aged fairly well. It looks very good. And I mean, although yes, it has pumped significantly in price, I still think that this is going to be one that just continues to go up in value. I mean, it's a part of the Fauching case. So again, it's very old. Came out back in 2015. It's the covert AK of this case. Are the golds extremely sought after in this case? Not exactly, but I still think that this is going to be one of those AK skins that rises drastically in value over time. I mean, there's a lot of great skins tied back to this case. And again, I just think that's a very clean looking AK. It's a covert. I see it rising significantly in value long term. And then also the red line. The red line is kind of in the same category as some of these other skins. This is a very old one back in 2014. No, there's no factory new available. You should know that if you are in the skin game. But StatTrack Minware, this thing, I mean, listen, it definitely has jumped up in value. I'm not going to lie. I mean, if we go back to roughly like the beginning of 2024, 150 bucks. Today, about 400 bucks. I think that it deserves the price. I really do think that it deserves the price tag. The reason why is just because of how clean the red line has looked. Over time, it's gotten some upgrades with graphics in the game, like CS2. And with CS2, you could really see that carbon fiber view. The reds pop a lot more. I just think that this is one of the cleanest AK skins in game, and the price is justified. And I think long term, the price will just continue to go up. Now, with Minware, you definitely want to get a Minware, and you want to get some of the lowest wear possible if you want to hold it long term. Only because this thing does wear pretty significantly, especially if you're looking at like lower tier field tested or even well worn. So get the Minware, get the lowest wear you could find, and if you're buying a significant supply, just get Minwares, in my opinion. So again, very good investment on the red line, and then also the Neon Rider. So the Neon Rider, I mean, this is one of those skins that really hasn't jumped significantly in value since CS2. It's definitely jumped quite a bit over time, but it's not like a crazy increase in value. It's a pretty old skin from back in 2018. It looks incredible in CS2. It's one of the brightest, most colorful CS2 skins out there for the AK, and I don't know. I just think that it's a very clean looking skin. It's going to be sought after long term simply because of the view of it and how it looks. It's a covert as well. Very, very old skin. And I just think that this one's pretty cheap compared to most of the other covert AK skins. And then also the Empress. A little bit of a throwback. This is one of the few reds that I've actually unboxed in the game back in 2017. This one launched, and again, I just think that this is such a royal looking AK. It really reminds me of the Emperor M4A4. I really do like the view of this AK. It looks very clean, looks very crisp. I love the blues contrasting with the yellows and the reds. And this is, again, one of those AK skins that's still so flat in value, even though it looks so good. Yes, there's a higher supply of it, but I do think that over time, we will see the supply get swallowed up from investors just buying up the supply. I know it's an older skin, so again, a lot of people will say, well, it had so long to get bought up, but it still hasn't. I just think that long term, this is going to be one of those AK skins that just gets swallowed up in terms of supply and demand because of how it looks, number one, but also because of how rare this case has become. I mean, this is a part of the Spectrum 2 case, and over time, this Spectrum 2 case has been unboxed significantly, and that's because of the golds within it, which include, of course, butterfly knife Dopplers. So the supply of this case has dropped off completely, and with a lot of these skins inside of this case, some of them have gone up significantly in value. So I do think that the Empress is definitely up there as a good long-term hold. Same with the Bloodsport. I really do like the Bloodsport. I know that a lot of people don't like the Bloodsport. This is one of the few AK skins back in like 2017, 2018 that I was really, really excited to unbox. Never did. And even today, I still think that this AK skin looks very clean. I love all the details on it. I just think that the colors of it are very clean. And again, it goes with a lot of combos. Price action wise, it definitely jumped in price action, as you guys can see, especially going back to like 2023, going off the fall off as well after like CS2, $230, and then skyrocketing back to like 500 plus. I still think that this has a lot more upside potential left in it. It's a cleaner looking AK skin, very rare. I just think that it's a pretty good investment. And then the last two. So the last two are a little bit more expensive. It's the Elite Maseo, which again, if we're thinking about this, part of the Operation Riptide case, one of the rarer cases, and also very expensive cases as well. This is a case that's about 17 bucks on CS Money, and across the board, it's about like roughly 12, 13 bucks. Very sought after case, and the reason for that is, of course, yes, the golds within it. If we are going all the way to the bottom, there you have it, the Gamma Doppler butterfly knives. This is one of those cases where we are looking at the skins and we're saying, all right, well, what skins in this are going to be very expensive? Well, it's the first three here, in my opinion, which is the AK-47 Elite Maseo, the Desert Eagle Ocean Drive, and then the Snack Attack Glock, which, by the way, I did include in a recent video. I also included the Ocean Drive as well. But when we're thinking about some of these skins, I really do think that this is one of those AK-47 skins where you either like it or you don't. I know it's very wonky, it's very goofy, but again, I think that's pretty cheap compared to some of the other coverts. Price action, yes, it's definitely pumped up in value, but with a lot of these AK-47 skins hitting $1,000+ obviously this one, supply wise, definitely a lot more supply compared to some of those AK skins. And when it comes to like having this go with combos and being extremely sought after because of the look, it definitely doesn't have that appeal. But I could definitely see the StatTrak factory new side of this AK pushing the high 1K mark. And right now it's like about roughly 500, sub $500 on some platforms. I just see this being very expensive long term because of how expensive the case is and how much it has been boxed. I mean, that case today, supply and demand wise, the supply is diminishing greatly, and it has diminished over time as well because of those golds. And then last but not least, the AK-47 fuel injector. I mean, it's for obvious reasons why this thing has gone insane. It looks absolutely insane. One of my favorite looking AK skins to date. I love the backside of this AK. It kind of reminds me of like the interior stitching on a like high class vehicle, how it just has that nice like gold stripping. And then you have like the supercharged on the back. I just think that this is such a clean looking skin. Goes with a lot of great combos in the game as well. And that's why it's very expensive. I mean, it's about roughly $1,000 today. Like $1,100-ish for StatTrak factory new. Yes, some of the other wares are decent as well. You could buy the other wares. This is one of those skins that it definitely starts to wear rough like around some of these other lower tier wares, but the difference is that this is not like your other skins where it gets completely ruined. It's just a brightness skin. So as you guys can see here, the main thing that changes is brightness. And yeah, some of the, like some of the like little parts of the gun itself kind of get rusted, like the metal parts kind of get a little bit rusted. So it wears decent. It's not like a crazy, it doesn't look absolutely horrible and battle scarred or anything like that. So look at some of the other wares here. They're not too bad. Price wise, you can get it much cheaper than factory new if that is a problem. And I just see this thing going up significantly in value over time because of, number one, it being a part of the Operation Wildfire case, which this is another one of those cases that's extremely old. The supply for it has diminished over time. Does it have the best skins in it? Not exactly. The golds, I mean, they're not the best, but I still think that over time, the AK fuel injector, it's just going to be one of those skins that everyone wants. If you like gold, if you like yellow, if you like anything that's kind of pertaining to the skin in terms of like that metal look, carbonish, this is going to be one of those skins for you. So over time, I see this thing pushing high valuations, very similar to some of the other high class AK-47 skins that are pushing like 4K plus. So definitely look into the fuel injector as well if you have the cash as well. But overall, this is some of the AK-47 skins that I foresee going up significantly in value over time, especially right now with the market cooking the way it is. You could wait a bit, see how the market reacts, but these are just some of those AK-47 skins that I see being very good long-term holds. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, and turn notifications on to never miss a future update. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.